Hello and welcome to today's video where I'll be covering my webcomic process in Clip Studio Paint. In today's video, I'd like to discuss how to develop a comic style using the tools in Clip Studio Paint. Links to additional tutorials, as well as everything mentioned in today's video, will be down in the description below. As a comic artist with multiple series across different genres, I always like to try something new with each of my projects. For example, my fantasy series uses bright, whimsical colors and a cute art style, while my gothic horror series uses a more muted color scheme and more realistically proportioned art style. By using different approaches to style each series, I've managed to make them feel unique to each other and made the art of each series complement the specific vibe they're going for. That being said, it can be tough to know where to start when experimenting with a project's art style. One effective way I've learned to dabble in different approaches to style is by creating a style test, a sample page which highlights all of the important areas of the comic style you want to explore, like character design, backgrounds, font choice, etc., to see how they all look together as a finished product. Once I've narrowed down what looks best, I can use what I learned from the test and apply it to the actual story. Using Clip Studio Paint's comic and illustration tools, we can very easily test out unique styles and experiment with different techniques until we get a result we're happy with. The first tool I find incredibly helpful for finding my ideal character style in Clip Studio Paint is the 3D head models. To use these, go to the Materials panel and then the 3D head subfolder, then add whichever head you like to your canvas. You can rotate it or resize it using the Object tool. To experiment with different proportions, go to the Tool Property panel and find the Face Mixer and Facial Features settings. Here you can customize the proportions in two ways. With the Face Mixer, you can combine features from the different head styles together using the sliders. I find this really useful for pinning down the style of different characters within the same story, since I can start them off with the same base proportions, but adjust the mixer slightly to achieve different results between them. You wouldn't want a big muscular character and a small cute character to look identical to each other within the same comic, but at the same time, if they're too different looking, the style won't look cohesive. The other way to customize the proportions is with the Facial Features setting. Here you can finally control the positioning of the facial proportions to exactly where you want them. I think this pairs well with the Face Mixer to allow for total customization and experimentation. When I'm not sure what style to go for, I like to play around with things like eye size and angle, forehead height, mouth width, etc. to see what kind of impression they leave on the character design. For my own art, I tend to draw characters with more evenly angled eyes, but I thought it might be fun to make a head with a stronger angle to the eyes so I could experiment with a different vibe. If you'd like to emulate a specific art style in your work, you can easily import a reference image into your subview panel, then shape the 3D head to match it and go from there. After you've found a result you like, you can register the 3D head model as a material and save it to the materials library to use later. The other 3D tool I find really useful for playing with style is the 3D body model. Like the head, you can find this in the 3D folder of the Materials panel, and it's also fully customizable. Once you've chosen your body and added it to the canvas, go to the Change Body Shape settings under Tool Property. From there, you can adjust the body's proportions using the sliders and body type graph. By clicking the drop-down, you can hone in on specific body parts to shape the body exactly how you want it. When you have the body how you like it, I recommend putting it into a pose that your character might use, so you can get a feel for whether the proportions you chose suit them or not. The proportions can still be changed after posing them, so if you don't like the result, you can go back and make additional changes. As of Clip Studio Paint's 2.3.0 update, the 3D body model can be posed more easily than ever before. You can either rotate the individual limbs by using the 3D rotation manipulator, or by clicking and dragging an individual limb. New rotators have been added to the elbows and knees, which makes adjusting these parts of the body a lot simpler than before. And as you can see, dragging the limbs now only affects the immediate area of the body you're interacting with, and the surrounding parts in that area will move in a way that looks natural to life. so you don't have to worry about the pose being skewed when making small adjustments. When the body looks how you like it, you can add your adjusted head back to the canvas and position it over the body's head to combine the two into one cohesive reference. Then, lower the opacity of the layer and create a new layer on top to start drawing. For both the head and the body, I recommend trying out a few variants so you can find out what works best for your character. Those are the basics for how you can experiment with character design style in Clip Studio Paint. In the next video, we'll discuss some ways you can get experimental with line art to achieve unique effects. Check the description below for my social media links and more tutorials. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time.
Clip Studio Paint.